Hello, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to this session. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some code from one of the students in the course. They're working on the Galaxy Crucible. So we're going to take a look at their code. They're having some trouble, and so we'll just take a look at it, kind of work through it, see some of the errors that came up, and just talk about them briefly. So I've opened up the Arduino IDE, and I'm going to go ahead and paste in the code that I got from the student, and we're just going to kind of walk through it step by step. So, as I did just a preliminary check through it, I noticed that it just seemed to be mostly syntax errors that were the issues here. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to Tools and I'm going to say Auto Format. All right, so there it auto formatted it for me. I like that. Now, so the first thing is I go down the sketch. The first thing I notice is that integer, which is declaring the data type for these variables, needs to be lowercase. So I'm just going to change that big I to a little I, and that capitalization matters, and notice it went from black to orange, indicating that, hey, it is a keyword. So I'm just going to go down the line and do that. All right, and then the big giveaway there is that since it was black, it needed to be, I know that it needs to be orange and a keyword. So if I know something needs to be a keyword or it should be a keyword, and that'll just kind of come with experience. You'll know what keywords are what and types. So same thing here with void. See, the V is big. I want to make that small. And before we go on, I just want to note, here's fade amount. I like the name fade amount. That's good. But I do notice there's an A and then another M. Now, this is fine. You can name your variables whatever you want. But generally speaking, you just capitalize the first letter of the second word when you put them together. So I'm just going to do that. That's more of a micro preference than in anything, but that's just how I roll. So I'll kind of go there. So here's our void setup. We've got the opening and closing curly bracket. Notice same deal here with that P. We just got to make sure it's a lowercase p. And it's funny because you think, man, just the upper or lower caseness of something matters this much. In fact, it sure does. These are the real kind of difficult details you got to mess with. And then what I'm going to do at the end of setup, I'm just going to make a little annotation. I'm going to say close setup. So there's just a little note to remind me that curly bracket right there represents the close of the setup function. All right, so now I'm here in loop, and I like what Juan has done here, because really he's kind of approached this thinking, okay, hey, this is going to be a block of code, and then he's enclosed it in curly brackets. But since there's no enveloping function for this particularly, it's not like there's a for loop right now or anything like that, we can get rid of those curly brackets. We don't need those curly brackets. So what's going to happen is he comes in here, he says analog write, and then he's writing LED1, that LED1 variable, and he's writing brightness to it. Okay, so everything looks good in here, and again, I'm just fixing some spacing kind of things, make sure they're all nice and lined up. And part of that was probably because I copied it from a forum and put it into here, so I'm sure that's part of the issue why the formatting isn't quite right. And then I'm just going to close that gap. It's still fine with that gap, but I like that closed. All right, now here's this line of code. Okay, that looks good. Again, me and my spaces. But one thing I do notice here is that it needs a semicolon at the end. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick a semicolon in here. And I come down here to his next, he's got an if statement. It says if brightness is equal to 0 or if brightness is equal to 255, do this stuff. So I notice this if is a keyword and it's not orange. So it looks like I just need to make a lowercase I there. And then I notice fade amount here, it's got a big F. See, it's a small f here, and when it was declared, it was a small f. So what I'm going to do is just change that to a small f, and then I'm going to make the m small also. All right, and then what I want to point out is this right here, that was a negative sign, so I'm just going to put that right in there. Sometimes, oh, never mind. There we go. There's a negative sign. Sometimes you can accidentally put a dash. So if you put like a double one, it won't work properly. So you got to be on the lookout for that. But in this case, that wasn't the problem. And then what I'm going to do at the close of this curly bracket, I'm just going to say close if. So these are just little comments that I like to put in so that I know that if statement got closed. All right, he's going to delay 30 seconds, and then he's doing a digital write high. So I'm going to go ahead and compile now. So I'll just go to verify. Okay, let's see. What does it say? It says void does not name a type. So what did I miss here? Void does not name a type. Oh, look at that. See the V? You probably caught that, but I didn't. So there, I lowercase that, and I think that's going to probably be the case. So let's try it again. Go ahead and verify. All right, it says fade amount was not declared in the scope. So it looks like I forgot to change the M here to the lowercase m. All right. Hey, it compiled, and it's good. Now, I do want to note a couple things. If you need to be familiar with the Galaxy Crucible in order to kind of get where we're coming here. Notice that we do the digital write high for all of these. So when you look at the output of the on the Arduino board of this circuit, 4 of the LEDs turn on high, and then the other 4 slowly fade to bright and then not so bright. They're kind of fading in and out. But the idea is to kind of blink these other LEDs, these 5 high. So you can imagine what we probably need to do now is write these low. So I'll just kind of highlight that. I'll put it down here, and I'm just going to change that to low. So there's low, and I think I'm going to take that delay. No, we'll keep that in there. Okay, so I think that's going to work. So hey, that's just a quick little video here, kind of walk through some very common errors when you're first starting to get programming. Stuff happens all the time, and again, really, what I love about this program is that conceptually, this was perfect. There really was no conceptual issues here at all. It just came down to those tiny little syntax errors that will really eat your lunch. So Juan, awesome job on this program. I hope this is helpful, and I hope this was helpful to everybody else who is watching, and we'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye.